Welcome back, rum fans. Welcome back to the studio today. Abuelo 7. Not a rum that's automatically at the top of your thoughts. You probably, if I said to you Abuelo, most of you watching this probably that know Abuelo would probably go 12. But I've got a 7 here. The 7 I bought, I played around with it for the first sort of few days after I bought it. And it's just happily sat on the back shelves ever since, never tasted, just never revisited it. And I thought when I was like sitting down planning these videos, I was like looking through the list and I was like, yeah, do that, do that, do that. Skip past it. I was like, no, I'm going to redo this. Why? I've kind of dismissed it. I don't know. I haven't dismissed it. It's a decent rum. Before I get into the tasting notes though, let's give you a couple of fact bombs. What have I got here? Abuelo 7-year-old, £28.50, Master of Malt in the UK, 40% ABV. It is column still. 50. It's kind of put out there. It's not come from Abuelo. 15 grams of sugar per litre. I, on tasting, think that's generous. I think it potentially could be more. It's interesting because I'm going to be doing the Diplo Familia after this, not the Diplo Reserva, the Diplo Familia. So it's going to be interesting tasting that. It's not overly sweet. It's definitely not Diplo Reserva sweet for me, but it is sweeter. I've just filmed the Black Tot, so you know I'm doing this in the same session. And it's infinitely sweeter than what Black Tot is. But we know there's a market for sweeter rums. I kind of do enjoy sweeter rums. I appreciate unsweetened rums, don't get me wrong, but I'm not going to be snobbish and say, oh, it's sweetened, I'm not touching that. That's a load of nonsense. We just judge the liquid in the bottle. Do I like it? Yeah, I do. I don't have to think about when I'm drinking it. It's 100% a session rum for me. Probably too easy of a session rum because of the added sugar. I just, if someone cracked a bottle of that out, I know full well that sitting around, just with a cup, just topping up, I'm going to think nothing of having like 2, 3, 4 glasses of that. Absolutely nothing. It's not even going to faze me because it's just easy going. It's not going to bore me. It's not going to be, don't get me wrong, it's not going to massively excite me. It's not going to go, oh, what's that? That's amazing. It's not going to be that, but it's a great rum to get out with friends, possibly friends that are not used to like out and out proper rums, but it's a great rum to enjoy. And for the price, where do we go? £28.50. For the price, you can't argue with that. Now, let's just continue with the facts a little bit here because I've written this down. I have been told this a couple of times at various rum shows and that. It's hard to get my head around what it exactly is. I do call it Solera. They do admit to having Solera as well, but they do kind of have this other separate aging thing called, and it's called vintage palate aging. Now, I do, when you kind of describe it, I do automatically think that's Solera, but the big difference is, so Solera we know is, just the best way I can describe it is you have 3 rows, what's the word? Levels of rum. That's not even the word I'm looking for. You've got the bottom row, next barrel, next row, and a row above that. And the rum from there, gets filled from the top. The bottles get filled from the bottom barrels. So when you take rum out of the bottom barrel, the middle's kind of barrel then tops up the bottom barrels. Then when you take rum out of the middle barrels, the top barrels, and then you add into the top. So that's Solera aging. They're kind of working down barrels and all that. So it's like a massive blended rum. Nothing wrong with that. Don't be a snob. Don't hate on Solera aging. Solera aging is fun. It's great. Adds a different complexity to rums. It might not be up everyone's street, but do not let anyone tell you that Solera aging is bad. That is complete and utter tosh. All right. So that's what Solera aging. I've made a butcher's of describing that. That's what Solera is. Now, what vintage palate aging is, and I've seen photos of this. It's been described to me. They've got the warehouse is just completely full of barrels, upended, so it's just there. What they basically do, because of the angel share, if you like, so they lose, I think they lose 6 or 8% a year. I think it might be 8%. Don't I mean I haven't written this down, but I think that's 8%. And obviously Panama. So Panama, they're in the luxury position of actually growing their own sugarcane and harvesting their own sugarcane. I mean that, you know, a lot of brands, a lot of rums can't claim that. So they're actually growing, harvesting their own sugarcane and then producing molasses from that. So that's a big nod to them as well. But they take that molasses, they obviously ferment, blah, 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 distill and all that sort of stuff. They've got two column stills, two different types of column still there, which goes into production as well. But what they do is, with this vintage pallet aging, when they've got, you know, the angel share, and it's every 2 years they do this, so they lose, 6-8% to the angel share. They'll then take rum of the same age and then fill up the barrels. So basically what they're doing, say they've got 4 barrels on a pallet. This is not what they do, but you just to explain, kind of so you can get your head around it. 4 barrels on a pallet. All 4 of those barrels have lost, say, 8% over 2 years. They will then choose one of those barrels and they will top up from that barrel to kind of make them full, and then they take the other barrel and all that. So it's always the same age. All right, so that's their vintage pallet aging. They're not adding a 5-year-old rum to that. They're always adding or topping up with the same age. All right, that's the big difference. I'd still potentially call that Solera, but it's not Solera in the traditional sense. All right, it needs a name. I don't know. It might have a proper name. I generally don't know. I've probably made a butcher's of explaining that, but hopefully you understand. Anyway, this rum at £28.50. I tell you what, is flipping well worth having. I did take a mouthful then, but I'm going to give you some nosing notes. Nosebuds. Pam, I like the word nosebuds. I saw your comment the other week, Pam, on my nosebuds. You've got taste buds. Why have you not got nosebuds? So on the old nosebuds, it is, the sweetness does bring out more. So you've got vanilla. You've got creamy, buttery, toffee, butterscotch vibes going on. You've got a bit of fruit, actually, to be fair. Bit of marzipan. I get a little bit of marzipan off that. The fruit I get off that kind of nudges me towards banana. It's nowhere near banana-y as the black tot last week. 15 minutes ago. But I kind of do that. But I do get a little bit of citrus on there. But I dare say all that is amplified by the dosage, by the sugar. Do I think if I got it to hand, hang on, bear with me 1 second. So you can see what I've done. This is a really hard one to gauge. We know roughly the sugar levels of, just in case you can't see it properly, we know roughly the sugar levels of Diplo. It's touted about, it's roughly about the 40 grams. They're saying 15 grams in here, so per litre. It's a 40% alcohol by now. Interestingly, I don't think Diplo is any sweeter than that Panama, than the Abuelo. Actually, that's a lie. I think that's sweeter. But for Bumbu, again, we don't know the sugar levels on this. I've seen various people do that, but obviously we know we've got lots of additives in Bumbu. Plus, we've got amped up flavours like vanilla, which automatically make things taste sweeter. That Bumbu, this is especially for bakes. You know, if you watch these big boy videos, that Abuelo 7 is nowhere even remotely close to being in the same flipping postcode, zip code as Bumbu. That is just way sweet. Way sweet. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy it from time to time, but it's just way sweet. But it's the Diplo that's kind of got me. It's kind of fascinating me. Here's my professional opinion. There's going to be people now that hate me. Absolutely hate me. I think the Abuelo has got way more character. I'm not saying less sweet, but there's more rum vibes. There's more. I enjoy it. There's more going on in the Abuelo 7 than there is the Diplo, which I do find fascinating. Sugar levels is really hard. Really, really hard. I would say Diplo is not sweeter. That's the thing that's getting me. I don't think it's sweeter. I think it's just masking more in the rum. I'm just trying to give you like an honest overview here. There is more character, there is more going on in the Abuelo 7 than there is the Diplo Reserva is called, isn't it? Yeah, Reserva Exclusiva. There's more in the nostrils. There's more in the taste. There's more complexity on the taste. The Diplo, I understand why the Diplo's got fans, because it's just so easy drinking. But the sweetness one is hard to judge. I think people would drink this and naturally assume that it's potentially a lot sweeter than what it's claimed and what the numbers that I've seen. Don't forget, this is not official numbers. Abuelo don't say how much they add, how much sugar, but I generally get more complexity, more rum vibes, marginally less. That's the thing that's confusing me. Marginally less sweetness than that. That's potentially 15 grams. That's closer to 40 grams, and it's really fascinating. I now want to get the bottle of the 12. I've had the 12 so many times, and the finishes, the different finishes, and I do always class them as sweet. But then I've always tasted them off the back of tasting unsweetened rums, if you like. I've never tasted them off the back of tasting a Diplo, because I always sort of avoid Diplos if I'm at rum fests or whatever. So the benchmark is kind of skewed, if you like. It's a hard one. I'm coming to the conclusion it is sweet. It's obviously sweetened, of course it is, but I don't think it's as sweetened as what. It's just the complexity that I get off the rum. Nowhere near as complex as like an El Dorado 12 or the previous video, Black Tot. Nothing like that. Don't go getting your knickers in a twist. But it is a rum that I do enjoy neat a lot more than Diplo. It offers me more. And I think £28.50, I think is an absolute bargain. I'm looking at other people's tasting notes here. Woody, smoky, sweet, caramel, toffee, leather, mild, balanced, vanilla, tobacco, nutty, raisin. Nutty is probably the one I don't agree with. Off there. Raisin, cinnamon, ginger, chocolate, cocoa, hot. Don't know what hot is. Alcohol, I'm assuming. Marshmallow, supple, cognac. Cognac. It doesn't taste anything like cognac. I don't get a cognac finish from it. Look, it's a sweeter rum. I don't think it's a session rum in the sense that I could have 5 or 6 of those and not feel it, because the sips I've had, I realise I think I did say this earlier with your reference. The thing that I've noticed now, it might be because I've had the Diplo as well and the bamboo, but I'm almost getting that coating around the teeth. You know when you get extra sugar around the teeth, fairy teeth we call it. I'm almost getting that, but I'm not sure whether that's influenced it now or not. But previously, I just think it's an inoffensive rum that's going to have a lot of fans, especially fans at. I always check myself and think, actually, do you know what I'm about to say? Because I was going to say at the lower end of the spectrum. And I'm just thinking of my Discord community here, because I know we've got a lot of fans that don't like sweetened rum. But we've also got a lot of fans that do like sweetened rum. I think that's a great. Bakes. I'm gonna make you famous, Bakes. Bakes. I think that is a great brand to take you from bamboo to proper unsweetened rum. I think that's a good stepping stone. I'm not going to have a bad word said against that. I can't fault it other than the fact it is sweetened. There's a bit going on. There's a lot more going on the palate than what there is in Diplo. Diplo Reserva. I can't wait to do the Familiar in the next video. Intriguing. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. I understand it's not for a lot of people, but put your mind in a rum, an under £50 rum drinker's head. Not in a rum drinker that's, I was going to call them rum geeks. Let's just call them rum geeks. Not in a rum geek world where, you know, £75 is cheap and, you know, everything is aged or whatever. Put yourself in an under £50 rum drinker's head. If you've had the Abuelo 7, what do you think of it? Let me know in the comments below.